The goal of this trip is to explore some more of the Rhodope mountains off-road and enjoy both their natural beauty as well as historic landmarks. Let's kick off this adventure by finding our way to a completely deserted ghost village located high up in the mountain. Seeing how the asphalt is slowly disappearing, I think it's time to go into off-road mode. Air down the tires to a maximum of 1.5 bars, lock the manual hubs, adjust the shocks, and let's go. There it is. Situated at 1625 meters, Chamla is formerly the highest village in Bulgaria. It was inhabited until the 80s before it was abandoned completely. If you ask me, the place is absolutely stunning. In today's world, with satellite internet, I wouldn't abandon this village for the world. Next on the list, some amazing mountain views. wanted to follow another track leading to a fortress. But I guess you should never trust the GPS off-road. It's been a long time since there was a track here. We eventually found it, but only on foot. A couple of 100 meters on the narrow path and you will see the keep. Little is known about Bialgrad, but it's a small keep built in the 12th century. So we just entered the citadel. This is the main part, which is 10 meters by 10 meters approximately, and it is clearly visible, this structure, from space. I saw it on Google Maps on the satellite view, but what I didn't know is that there is another outer wall surrounding the perimeter. It is covered by bush completely, and we just stumbled upon it on our way here. The outer wall is actually much higher than it looks if you dare to take a peek from the outside. If you happen to be passing along the Arda river, then I would recommend a stop to this meander. It is located near the village of Madzharovo, and there is an easy access on the asphalt. These spectacular vertical rocks home some of the rarest birds in the country, including the only colony of the griffon vulture in Bulgaria. In any case, travelers love to take a break here and enjoy the scenery. Now, do you remember this bridge from the previous Rhodope Mountains video? It's finally time to go there. There are a few villages that remain, perhaps in the world, without access for cars or for any motorized vehicles. We're going to visit one of them. And it's a very small village. It has no wide roads. They cannot even fit a carriage. And the only way to get there is by following these railroad tracks. They will lead us to a rope bridge and some stunning vistas along the reservoir and get us right to the village. As we said, there is no road, but there is a railway station. Walk a couple of 100 meters down and you will get to the rope bridge, which is perhaps the best part about visiting this village. It is Bulgaria's longest suspension bridge, but it has seen better days. So mind your steps. It's 261 meters long and crosses one of the reservoirs in the Rhodope mountain. I believe this is the only amenity that you will find in the village. Did I mention that the railroad track is active? So be careful. Going back the same way across the bridge and along the railroad track to get back to the Jimny. The next stop is not far away, but it is one of the most impressive ancient sites in the Rhodope Mountains region. It's called the Death Stones. Right behind me, you see one of the largest Thracian monuments in this part of Europe. These rocks have been cut 6,000 years ago. The purpose of these cuttings, these niches, is not exactly clear, but the most promising theory suggests that they have been made to worship the dead. So in each of these niches, which count as many as several hundred around these rocks here, and in each one of them, an urn has been placed. There is obviously something special about this place, because several thousand years later, Christians also decided to build church on the exact same spot. And here are the remains. Archaeological work is currently on pause, that's why you see these blankets over the walls. From rock-cut niches and rooms to medieval architecture. I think it's interesting to see a site that bears traces of both Thracians as well as early Christians. You can easily observe how the place has been changing over the ages. I mean, of course you're gonna build a sanctuary over there. Just look at the view from here. The Thracian sanctuaries always featured the most amazing views. Time to find a nice place to set up camp. I have my eyes set to the nearby reservoir, hoping that we can find a flat area to pitch the tent. The place is better than I have hoped for. Now, the perfect camp spot calls for the perfect dinner. That's why tonight I'm cooking. And what you'll see is fajitas a la George. Of course, what you need is the wraps. I have some bell peppers, red, green, you can have yellow if you wish. They add a bit of different flavor, and of course they look good when you combine everything together. I have onions, salsa, and some secret mix of spices that I'll tell you about in a minute. And of course, the main hero of the evening, chicken breasts. Now, allow me to prepare everything, just to slice everything up, and we'll continue. Now the more tedious part is over. You clean the bell peppers from their stems and the seeds inside, the onions of course, and let's start with the chicken. I would suggest chopping first the chicken, because then you can leave it to marinate with the spices and then continue in the meantime to slice the vegetables. I would suggest cutting the chicken in cubes of about 2 to 3 centimeters, or that's 1 inch. The best part about this recipe is that it's easy. If it's not easy, then I'm not going to do it on camp. If I have to carry lots of ingredients and it takes a lot of time, and well, when it comes to fajitas, it is something that everyone has a bit of a different take on it. So I'm showing you mine, which I'm sure you'll appreciate how easy, flavorful and fun it is to actually make it. Now the meat is already cut in these cubes and we're going to season them now. Why? Well, because they need some time so they can absorb the flavor from all the spices. Some people will leave it overnight, others for half an hour, or in this case, while we're chopping the bell peppers and onions, it will give us the time for the flavors to sink in the meat. Now what I have here is of course sea salt, and the secret ingredient I have pre-mixed at home, the basic ingredients for any Tex-Mex meal, which is pepper, paprika, cumin and garlic powder. We'll season them beautifully and leave them. Now, I will usually advise not to use the same cutting board for the vegetables and for the meat. That usually means you can avoid cross-contamination. However, in this case, we are also going to cook the vegetables, so it doesn't really matter. I would suggest cutting the peppers into slices, and for the onion, cut it into fine pieces. Now with everything cut and ready, we'll preheat the trusted cast iron skillet on a gas stove. With the heat already on the way, we get a dash of olive oil in and leave it to heat up, because the thing about cast iron frying pans and skillets is that they heat up really slow, but once they do, they will be piping hot. That's why don't forget to get a pair of working gloves, because you don't want to touch this handle when it's hot. It seems like we're ready. It's getting pretty dark. Let's add another source of light. Always need to keep this handy. It will be easier to first add the meat. Try to maintain medium heat on the stove and keep stirring. You know you're ready when the meat starts to get white. As soon as you see that the meat is nicely covered, it's time to add the rest of the ingredients. These are the peppers. They will shrink significantly. And now the onions. You need to continue stirring until you feel the peppers are soft to the touch. Looks like it's pretty much ready. So we turn off the heat, and now is the best time to add a bit of lime, just the juice, to the occasion. Slice it in half and simply squeeze it all around the fajitas. Now for serving, there are several options. Some prefer shredded cheese, other maybe pico de gallo. You can pretty much add anything. I have salsa ready and in hand. So, get the good bits on the wrap. And of course I know what you're thinking, but I'm not going to be the one to taste it. Because of course I'm subjective. I like what I do. So let's see if our companion will be able to survive this.
in front of the camera, please. Just wrap it up with your own hands. I'll just observe. If it's poisonous, maybe I'm not gonna use it. Let's see. No, that was pretty fake. Seriously, is it good or not?
Yes.
Come on, an honest opinion.
It's amazing.
No one's watching. No one's watching.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap myself another one and crack open a few cold beers and enjoy the evening.
If you're still here, please subscribe to the channel and consider buying me a beer on Patreon. Until next time.